Fund Pensions Limited is here to help you manage and grow your retirement savings so you remain prepared for uncertainties and are able to fulfill your post-retirement aspirations. The Pension Pot. Don't miss it.
Looking for the best in news updates?
Yeah, man.
Listen to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Now listen. News on the hour. 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7. Always precise in news broadcast.
Citizen FM Abuja. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoette. In less than 48 hours, voting will commence in 176,000 polling units across the country, as over 90 million Nigerians who are registered will be expected to elect a new president and vice president in the presidential villa. They will also elect 360 members of the House of Representatives and 109 members of the Senate. It has been an eventful period for all the players, the political parties, their candidates, the electoral umpire, security agencies, and even the electorates. Every player had a part. Almost 5 months after the flag-off of partisan political campaigns, we are now approaching that fitting climax, the grand finale, so to speak. On Insight today, we will attempt a recap of the whole campaign series, the blitz, the glitz, the drama, expectations, the numerous high points and disappointments. And my guest on the program today is Dr. Law Mefo, who is a forensic and social psychologist. Dr. Mefo is also a public policy analyst and a media communication strategist. Welcome to Insight, Dr. Mefo.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning, Dr. Mefo. Straight up, let's go into the show because we have a lot to talk about. First, let's start from security. This has remained a major concern for all in election. The INEC leadership is meeting with security chiefs. The president is meeting with security chiefs, and assurances are flying left and right. As a Nigerian, are you satisfied by this repeated assurances from security leaders?
I think the security situation in the country is a not fair cause for worry. But here we are confronted with a major election that ought to open the vista into what you may call a new Nigeria, resetting the country. The country is due to move to the next level. And that is what this election promises. And is an opportunity that Nigerians cannot afford to miss. And insecurity is rearing its head all over the country. Even some zones in the country that before now could be said to be very safe, very quiet, tranquil in Nigeria, especially the southeast, is reporting almost daily very serious violent crimes resulting in deaths and arson and all manner of things. And it's not limited to the southeast, is evident in almost every zone of the country. That said, in my own estimation, I still believe that the country is relatively peaceful enough to go ahead with the polls, with the crucial polls. The 1999 Constitution has very clear prescriptions on how to produce the president of the country, and the condition 1 talks about they would be winner scoring 25% in 24 states. That means that if the country is able to ensure elections in 24 states of the Federation, we will be able to produce the president. And I believe it's very doable. And it's less than 48 hours from now. I don't see what will alter that condition. I don't really think that there is any state of the Federation where election cannot hold as at today. I don't think so. And the service chiefs, the IGP, IG of police, and all the other statutory agencies and their leaderships have, told us that we can go on ahead with the election. I think it's reassuring enough. The threats are there, but the election will certainly hold. My only worry is that in areas of the country where you have greater insecurity, voter apathy, and low turnout of voters may be registered in those areas, and it may affect outcomes in terms of general turnout.
Dr. Mefa, we'll come to that, the issue of voter apathy. It's really something that we need to look at deeply. But before we get to that, talking about security, we move on to yesterday, the presidential candidates had an accord in Abuja where agreements were signed, a peace deal was made, and it was a massive showing for the fact that we had great personalities, former presidents of countries in Africa, former Nigerian heads of state, and other notable Nigerians. Now, beyond the symbolism of this peace accord signing, to what extent will this play a role in the electoral process? You
just use the right word. It's a symbolic gesture, and it's good for the optics. It's also good for confidence building and perception management. And that said, much will still be met by the actors themselves, because what happened yesterday was the final peace accord signing. The first one took place about 2 months ago, 2 to 3 months ago. And, we didn't see much of that translate to actual performance on the part of the presidential candidates. Because violence has been recorded here and there. Go to places like Ebonyi, go to many, Kaduna, Lagos, Borno, all these places.
Even
political parties.
Rivers State.
Yes, Rivers State. Perhaps the worst should be Rivers. You can see that political parties have been attacked. PDP cannot even hold its rally in Rivers State, a state that is controlled by a PDP governor. But it is that bad. So I think the symbolic gesture that we just witnessed is good. And but again, much will depend on the leading presidential candidates. They have to really dispose to accepting the outcome of the election. So that is the whole essence of the peace accord. That they should be able to subject themselves to the outcome. A situation where somebody says that he will accept the outcome if he wins is not good at all. So no presidential candidate should be allowed to posture in that manner, because it is Nigerians that will decide who they want. And these calls for neutrality of security agencies, particularly the modern security agency, which is the Nigeria Police, their neutrality is called for. They must be fair, they must be firm, and of course the electoral umpire, the INEC must be fair, they must be firm. Beavers better work. There is need for beavers to work so that the Electoral Act will be fully fulfilled, which says that accreditation will only be by beavers. And if accreditation is done fully by beavers, and what you call the total number of accredited voters validated by beavers, and the voting checkmated by beavers, then the process, if it remains, just and free and fair, the outcome will be acceptable. But the situation where somebody loses and he doesn't believe he lost fairly, it could lead to violence. And that is the thing, that's the issue here. INEC must remain above board. So far, so great. They have done well. Professor Yakubu has done exceedingly well with his men. But they need to go the whole hog. They have to ensure that the final outcome, reflects the wishes and will of Nigerians. That is what the election is about. But the monkey tricks we get from INEC officials in the past has to be checked this time around. Yeah, because the reports have been, reports after reports have, indicted the INEC officials as colluding to rig elections. So they must be careful this time. This election is too crucial for Nigeria, so that whoever wins will be seen to have won, with not that the person was manipulated into victory. It will be resisted by Nigerians.
All right, Dr. Mefo, you are a psychologist by training.
Yes.
Now, how is the Naira swap challenge currently affecting the psyche of Nigerians, likely to affect how Nigerians see this election?
Well, I think that the gross underwhelming performance of the APC-led federal government, has been capped by the fuel crisis and Naira crisis. These two crises have been most torturous to Nigerians in the last couple of weeks, and avoidably so. So I believe that the situation is emotionally charged, and people are really likely to vent their anger at the polls, with their PVC. With their PVC, and if that happens, I think APC didn't handle this aspect well. because it's going to affect them, negatively, if you ask me. Well, most Nigerians are not just happy. And they attribute it to callousness, that the government simply didn't care enough, and pushed them through all this. So I think the negative energy that has been released by the Naira crisis may rub off negatively also on the fortunes of the APC at the polls. I just pray it doesn't turn out that way that much. Otherwise, I think it's a self-inflicted injury that ought not to have been contemplated at this point. Because I believe that the Naira redesign or recoloration policy is quite good. It's a beautiful policy, but the implementation has been a disaster. And up till now, you can't access money anywhere from the POS, from ATM, from the counters of the banks. I was in my bank yesterday. After struggling for over 2 hours, I was able to get just 5,000 naira. You can imagine you fuel your car, with 5,000 to go and collect 5,000 from the bank. That doesn't make sense, economic sense. Doesn't make sense at all. I don't know how to run a family for a whole election weekend with 5,000 naira. So you discover that, most Nigerians are simply not happy. And I am not alone in this. I believe that this is the preponderance. That is what is happening, with the people at the moment. So, Nigerians should take it as one of the reasonable sacrifices they have to make to enthrone a new order in the country. Okay. Like President Muhammad Buhari said, that the policy is necessary to stop the vote trade that will taint the election outcome. Oh, okay. Let us see it from that light and see that this is a necessary sacrifice.
All right, Dr. Mefo, you just mentioned the vote trading now. Yesterday also, the EFCC chairman in one of his media outing raised alarm that over 500 billion naira is still hidden by suspected people who are suspected to be planning vote buying on election day. How do you see this?
You see, one aspect, the vote trade is predicated on circulation of the notes, and then the notes the EFCC is referring to is the old notes.
Yes.
Good. And the president has said that the 500 naira and the 1,000 naira old notes have ceased to be legal tender. The governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai, countered the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Obviously, El Rufai now runs a different republic in Kaduna. He enjoys immunity to the extent that he can commit such level of treason and nothing is done about it. I don't see why the president, cannot take on El-Rufai based on the law. This is treason.
What is he supposed to do? What is the president supposed to do to the governor of Kaduna State?
See, if I were the president, I believe that El-Rufai should be under house arrest as we speak. There should be. Yes. He should be confronted now. El-Rufai, look, what he has done is secession. It's treason.
Okay.
Countering. No, listen. You can call in a lawyer on this. Countering the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria on a matter that is on the exclusive list. Everything that has to do with currency is on the exclusive list. Exclusive list of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria is an exclusive preserve of the federal government. So, for El-Rufai to counter the president as a governor of a state, he has actually challenged the sovereignty of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is the truth.
Okay.
That is a direct affront. It's a direct assault on the sovereignty of Federal Republic of Nigeria. He cannot do that. Do you know, as we speak now, Kaduna residents are under the instruction and order of El-Rufai to continue to expend and collect and expend 500 naira and 1,000 naira old notes at variance and in direct contradiction of the directive of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So what do you call that? How many presidents do we have in Nigeria? It is one, Muhammadu Buhari has sat now, until he is changed through election. Whoever is countering him is challenging the sovereignty of Nigeria. That's my position, and I stand to be corrected.
All right. Well, Dr. Mefa, we will need to take a short break from now, and when we return, we will look at so many other issues as concerning the election. It's just 48 hours, less than that actually, to the presidential and the National Assembly election. Inside will return in a moment. Please don't go away.
Teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty, and the women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
Citizen FM Abuja. Yeah.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still in sight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoette. It's 10:35, and my guest has been Dr. Law Mefo, a forensic and social psychologist and also a media communication strategist. Dr. Mefo, thank you for standing by.
Thank you. I'm still here.
Yes. Okay, so you can be part of this program by joining us on our live stream on YouTube. It's simply type in Citizen FM 93.7. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. And don't forget, you can follow us on our social media platforms, 3 of them, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, also on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. Any of these numbers, you can also call us on our regular numbers, 0903 2229 797. That's 0903 2229 797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205, or you can call us on 0808 2222037. Any of those numbers, we already have we've lost that now. You can call back. I saw someone trying to call in. You can call back, and we have, as I said earlier, Dr. Law Mefo as my guest in the studio. Dr. Mefo is a forensic and social psychologist. Dr. Mefo, we need to take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Lawrence, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Kennedy.
This is Kennedy. Thank you very much.
Quite a while, Kennedy.
Thank you. I want to ask Doctor a question, and I demand answer that will help me and also help some Nigerians.
Okay.
I'm not against what Erifai did. Sorry, I'm not against his statement about Erifai. But I want to ask him a question. Supreme Court gave an order, and Mr. President counter it. Mr. President gave an order, and Erifai counter it. Who should we blame? Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, thank you, Kennedy.
Listen to him.
All right.
Well, now, I don't think the president countered the Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave an interim order. An interim order, the word interim, means what exists within a given space. What that means is that the order of the Supreme Court did not exist in perpetuity. It wasn't a perpetual order or perpetual injunction. And it was supposed to last between the time it was issued and the next Supreme Court sitting. And at the next Supreme Court sitting, the Supreme Court did not revalidate the order. For that reason, the order perishes or perished at that point. Even when the Supreme Court met yesterday, they still did not revalidate the order. In other words, the president did not violate any Supreme Court order because it was no longer subsisting. The Supreme Court should have been clear that the order exists in perpetuity. If you call it an interim order, it perishes after the expiration of its lifespan. It wasn't in perpetuity. So, in what way did the president violate the Supreme Court order? Supreme Court has had two opportunities. At least the sitting of the Supreme Court yesterday or day before yesterday should have been able to revalidate the order. In that case, we will now agree that the president is acting against a subsisting Supreme Court order. What I am saying, in effect, therefore, is that as we speak, there is no Supreme Court order. Okay. There are many senior counsels in Nigeria. Ask them questions about this. A perpetual injunction or a perpetual order is not the same thing as an interim order. It's not.
Okay.
An interim order cannot have the same lifespan as a perpetual order.
Okay, Dr. Mefo, let's move on now. Let's look at the political parties in the last 5 months or thereabout, when partisans campaigned were formally allowed, ending of September, I think, till now. From the primaries, even before that, from the primary elections within these political parties to their campaign in the last 5 months. Let's just look at maybe the front runners, the major political parties. How much of respect have these parties have for the internal democracy within their parties, and even the respect for their rules?
Well, I think overall they did well. The three leading candidates and their political parties, they have done well for their parties, done well for themselves. They are able to bring themselves before Nigerians, what they stand for, what they want to bring to the table. I think the new window provided by the new Electoral Act has given up to a window of 6 whole months for electioneering campaign post party primaries. Is showing to be quite worth the while, because if you look at it, you afforded Nigerians opportunities to raise questions, receive feedbacks, and then the campaigns have been extensive, and from what we can see, the three leading presidential candidates have covered virtually all the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. So the nooks and crannies of Nigeria have had a direct feel of the presidential candidates. However, one thing I find very concerning is that the agenda, the issues before the nation post 2023 have not been clearly defined. In other words, what Nigerians really want, in this election, so as to be able to pick out the candidate that best fits the bill, is not clear. So if because the issues are not clear, you can see why most of the campaign is focusing on the personalities. The personalities of these candidates, their past, what they have done in the past, and the issue of their qualifications, integrity, and their national standing, national exposure, and the acceptance and acceptability. These are the kind of things one can see. But you cannot clearly define and say, look, this is the issue that must be solved. Let me give you an example. If you look at the issue of restructuring, which for me is the most important issue that must be solved by whoever is coming in, it's not made an issue at all. Only one of the presidential candidates, Atiku Abubakar, has actually made an issue out of restructuring. The rest don't see it as much. The rest are proposing administrative reforms and all that. So you can see that the articulation of the needs of the country, what you may call a problem diagnosis, are not those things are not quite out there. In a way, canvas in a way that Nigerians will understand and connect with them. So you can the mantra of somebody like Obi, from production to from consumption to production, such stuff. That's just what the people can hang on him. And of course, he's trumpeted a good performance when he was governor of Anambra State. The same thing goes on Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's styling a performance as Lagos State governor, more than 15 years ago, is what he's relying on to fly the flag of the APC. So for me, it's much razzmatazz, but the issues are not really canvassed as far as I am concerned, because what should constitute, for me, in every election, there must be a need or two, perhaps three, and it should be clear in the minds of the people. For example, when the APC was coming in 2015, there were three clear issues before Nigerians. It was well articulated and understood. The issue of fighting corruption, the issue of fighting insecurity, the issue of dealing with unemployment and the economy generally. You don't find that kind of crystal clear definition of the problems, in this present campaign. So the presidential candidates are just marketing themselves. They are talking more about themselves rather than the problems they will solve when they come in. For example, the presidential candidate of the APC, I can't just remember one thing he has said anywhere. I can't just mention one thing. I can say that this guy said, in Lagos or in Abuja or anywhere. Hey, I know nothing. So, it's that, hazy, very confusing. But like we said, we are looking at them now. The psychologists will tell you that the best way of predicting somebody's future behavior is through his past. So we are using their past to judge them, and then other factors will now come to play as it is now. By this time next tomorrow, we'll be well on the way in determining between the three of them who would succeed President Muhammadu Buhari.
Oh, okay, Dr. Mefo, also throughout this process, there has been a heavy burden on the judiciary as a result of political players, as a result of disagreement among the political class. This has put a heavy burden on the judiciary, and it doesn't look as if it's going to stop. In fact, it looks as if it's going to increase after the election. Now, how do we? What is this? What does this say about our future plans for elections and primaries?
I believe the judiciary, has even become a kind of meddlesome interloper in our political process. Yeah, because where the court is over relied on, they become such a reliance can be commoditized. By that I mean it can become a source of corruption even in the judiciary. The leadership of judiciary has also talked about corruption, within its ranks. And of course, if you go to the reports of NJC, you will find what I am talking about. So it's not good at all. That is the judiciary that will determine who, for example, should be the governor of Imo State. I don't see any justification for that. Even if you cannot find the results that will authenticate who between Uzodimma and Emeki Hedio and others who would become the governor who was authentically elected, you cancel the election and they tell them to return to the polls. You don't just impose one person. It means that it is you now that elected the man who Uzodimma on behalf of the people of Imo State. That is really wrong. And but again, that is our experience. And if you look at what is going on all around, the judiciary, like I said, is becoming somewhat a meddlesome interloper in our political process.
But Dr. Mefo,
you don't blame the judiciary.
Exactly.
You don't blame the judiciary. It's the process. It is the process that makes people to be too disenchanted. Like I was saying earlier, that if the process is clear, and the outcome is acceptable to the contestants, then there will be less of litigation. But if the process is tainted, people will believe it is manipulated, and the next thing is for them to go to the judiciary to seek its intervention. This is what is going on, and it begins from what you call the pre-election matters. Political parties, for example, people who are running on your platform, there are basic things, certificates, for example. A political party should be able to ask these basic questions, verify those certificates. Must they wait for the opponents to now begin to say that a certificate is forged, that and the person did not participate in NYSC? These are too elementary issues. But again, these are things that go to court all the time. The things that go to court all the time, I think that the political parties will have to do more. The political process, the internal party democracy has not been allowed, to be part of what we are doing. And the end result is that it's cherry picking that you get. Cherry picking.
All right.
The cherry picking is that those who constitute themselves into the political party leadership pick who they want, and those who are shunted will have no other choice than to challenge the process. That is what we are facing.
All right, Dr. Mefo, we are really pressed for time, but finally, before I let you go, all eyes are on Nigeria now. The international community is looking on. Foreign observers are in town. Everyone is looking up to Nigeria. Your final word as we enter the last 48 hours.
Well, I just want to appeal to Nigerians, to allow this election to come and go. We all have a role to play by maintaining the peace around us, by being orderly at the polls, by ensuring that we don't constitute ourselves into a kind of a nuisance that will pose security challenges. And above all, they should try and vote for somebody they believe would make Nigeria better. I'm not recommending any particular presidential candidate, but let them vote according to their own conscience and be sure they will live with the outcome. They should forget about tribe, religion, ethnicity, all those primordial sentiments and vote for Nigeria for once. Let them vote for once for unity and progress and development of Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawme, for forensic and social psychologist and also a media communication strategist. Thank you so much for your intervention.
Thank you.
Dr.
The pleasure is always mine.
And I'm sure that on Saturday, during the election period, we may also have cause to seek your interventions.
I'll be standing by.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawme, for on our program today. But before we go, there are a few questions that I would want us to ponder as we approach the last 48 hours. What is at stake in this election? It's an election to elect a new president and members of the National Assembly. Who are the players? There are the politicians, the umpire, and the electorates. But I'm very concerned about the politicians. They have a way of taking care of themselves. The only thing that matters to them is interest. So as citizens, we should not let ourselves be caught in the web of their politicking. Your favorite leader today in that particular political party you support may be the chief opposition figure against that party in future elections. The one you hate with every fiber of your life today may tomorrow speak for you in that political party. For them, it's nothing personal. There are very few political leaders today who have not switched political parties or have gone ahead to form new ones. Not because they love Nigeria, but because their interests have to be protected always. Let that sink. Do we believe in the process? I guess that's why we all subscribe to the laws of the electoral process. If we believe in the process, we also need to respect the process. Will we be satisfied with the outcome? That also may depend on the outcome of the election. But there are always options open to us to seek redress. Violence has no place in our election. At least, not again. After the 2011 general elections, hundreds of innocent Nigerians, including UCO members, lost their lives to electoral violence. The major players in that elections are still around today. Let that sink. The world is watching. It's no longer a global village, but a global neighborhood. History beckons. History beckons on us as citizens, as Nigerians, as members of the human community to do what is right. Whatever we do will be recorded by history. Will history be kind to us? The choice is ours. And that's our package on Insight today. The program returns on Monday with another edition, and hopefully by then there will be an indication of who our next president will be. My name is Lawrence Umoette. Don't forget, on Saturday, if you have your PVC, you need to go out and vote.
Tech Talk with Mina, bringing you news updates on digital technology around us, discussing the latest developments and how technology can enrich you and make your life more exciting. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, welcome to our world of technology. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12, Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, expanding our global reach through technology.
Welcome to Super Citizen at Sunset on Citizen FM 93.7. This is the fun-packed radio show you heard about. Did you miss any one of our programming today? Join me, Diddy, from the Citizen Pot when we run through our programs from sunrise. Stay abreast, get informed on news roundup. It even gets better. Do you think you know Nigeria? Answer answer 3 questions correctly and be one of our daily winners on Quizzes. It is the full package. Let's take you back, way back on African Vibes. Let's celebrate the African people, the rich cultures across borders, the languages, the good food, and wealth of excellence on African Vibes. Join me every Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is on Citizen FM 93.7.
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty, and the women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
When you are young, life is so exciting. But what happens when you get older? Things start to slow down, and that is the wrong time to be broke. Everyone aspires to work and retire well, but millions of people just aren't saving nearly enough to give them the standard of living that they hope for when they do. But a pension plan makes up for this by providing financial protection when your energy is not what it used to be. You worked for your pension. Now your pension will work for you. Trust Fund Pensions Limited presents The Pension Pot. Listen to The Pension Pot and learn all you need to know about organizing your finances to live a rich, full life well into your latter years. Join me, Stanley Bentu, on The Pension Pot, as it comes your way every Wednesday at 2 p.m. only on Citizen FM 93.7. Trust Fund Pensions Limited is here to help you manage and grow your retirement savings so you remain prepared for uncertainties and are able to fulfill your post-retirement aspirations. The Pension Pot. Don't miss it.
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja. Time for news on the hour.
It's 11 a.m. Good morning. Thanks for staying with us here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Here's the news on the hour. The executive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdul Rashid Bauer, charged the operatives to be conscious of the interest of the nation and to exhibit a high sense of professionalism in the discharge of their duties. Apart from the teams deployed across the country, the EFCC has also released incidents reporting hotlines for the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. The EFCC urged members of the public to report any case of vote buying or selling or other evidence of financial malpractices designed to compromise the electoral outcome through these hotlines. Members of the public can also report anyone trying to buy or sell votes by making use of the EFCC Financial Crimes Reporting app, Eagle Eye, which is available for download on the Google Play or Apple Store. Additionally, the public can reach the Commission through their social media handles at official EFCC or by email info@efcc.gov.ng. U.S. First Lady Jill Biden has arrived in Namibia as part of a 5-day trip to Africa that will also include a visit to Kenya. She's expected to promote the empowerment of Africa's women and its youth, as well as the hunger ravaging the drought-prone Horn of African region. Dancers representing Namibia's different ethnic groups, some wearing red, white and blue, others dressed in bright pink, greeted her with singing and dancing. The country has not welcomed a high-level U.S. official since 1996. The First Lady's trip is part of a commitment by President Joe Biden to deepen U.S. engagement with the fast-growing region. Her first stop after arriving was a 45-minute drive south of the capital, Windhoek, to play a wreath at Heroes Acre, Namibia's official war memorial. She'll also visit the State House to meet with President Hage Geingob and his wife. And in sports, Haiti qualified for football's Women's World Cup for the first time in their history with a 2-1 win over Chile on Wednesday at a playoff tournament in New Zealand. They join England, Denmark and China in Group D of the World Cup, co-hosted by New Zealand and Australia. Haiti ranked 55th in the world and will face European champions England in their opening match in Brisbane on July 22nd. Teenage midfielder Milky Dumonet, who plays for French club Stade de Reims, gave Haiti the lead just before halftime in Auckland. The match was the first of 3 finals at the playoff tournament to decide the final spots at the World Cup. Portugal play Cameroon later Wednesday in Hamilton. And that's the news on the hour. Thanks for staying with us. Good morning.
Our journey. We've had our finest moments and our darkest hours. Yet we pull ourselves back from the brink every time. We are a resilient people. We are Nigeria. And when we talk, we share our views on Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM. People united will never be defeated.
Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out. Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials,